It was written by Bob Woodward. And in this book, he breaks down the discussions that had just happened within the last 2 months. The discussions that had happened between President Obama and his national security team. They all centered around concerns that the war in Afghanistan was not going in the direction they wanted. And as soon as I read this, I realized there was a huge divide between the political leaders in the Allied forces, namely the United States, the most important one, and their military leaders. The political leaders knew this was a losing strategy. We were not going to get out of Afghanistan what we intended to, which was a functioning democracy. We had been drifting in terms of our mission. If there's ever a mission creep, if you've ever heard of that, Afghanistan is a key example of how to do it. Here are some notable quotes capturing the lack of political will and uncertain commitment by the end of 2009. There's a quote from Barack Obama. "I'm not doing 10 years. I'm not doing long-term nation building. I'm not spending $1 trillion. This is Barack Obama illustrating his limited strategic patience and unwillingness for prolonged engagement. Vice President Joe Biden at this point. "We don't have a coherent strategy." He said, "We don't need more troops, we need a good strategy." So he was emphasizing the confusion and the lack of unified direction in the administration. And then Barack Obama was saying, "I can't lose the whole Democratic Party." And he's suggesting here that some of the domestic political pressures were interfering with his decision-making in Afghanistan. So these quotes all underscore how limited commitment, domestic political pressures, and strategic ambiguity significantly reduce the political will necessary for sustained, effective counterinsurgency in Afghanistan. So I read that book at the end of my 4th tour of duty, and I knew at that point we were done. There was no political will to be engaged in Afghanistan. Now, if you're an intelligence officer or you're a senior commander in the Allied forces or the Australian forces, my question to you is, this was publicly available information that pointed to a failing war.